Hello and welcome to Season 4 on Chatbox with Sam. Today we have actor, director, writer and musician John Kapelos. Hello John, how are you?
I'm good, Sam. How are you?
I'm absolutely awesome. It's a beautiful hot day outside. It's July and I'm so glad that you have come on my show. John and I have met up. We met at a Comic-Con and then we had a meeting with a film company and we all had lunch together, and John met quite a few of my friends and it was a good day, wasn't it, John?
Yeah, and it's always good to get a free lunch. You know, actors love that, and to meet wonderful people and talented and you know, extraordinarily gifted people. It's always fun.
It was, and it was a good day, and it was lovely when I met you at Pensacon too, and I was in the green room that time, and I walked in and you were sitting with Lorraine Newman and quite a few other wonderful guests, and the cast was there from Doctor Who, which I was very impressed about. And I was looking at you, I know his face, but I'm terrible with names and I couldn't remember the name, and so I just came up to you and we had a photograph, and it was great. So John,
Yes, dear.
John was born in not London, England, but London, Ontario, in Canada. You're an actor.
London on the Thames River in London, Ontario, Canada. We have a Thames River and a Covent Garden Market and a St. Paul's Cathedral. So it's really mini London.
It is a mini London, isn't it?
And I was born in Victoria Hospital, and I was raised on Grosvenor and Regent Street and Cheapside Street and in North London, Ontario. And we had Waterloo Street and Regent, as I said, you know, it's just... And then when I went to London, England, I went, wait a minute, they've named all these places after my hometown.
I think it was the other way around.
But at first I was like, you know, gosh, you know, what's going on?
Yeah, that's funny. So I know in part of Canada they speak French. Do you speak French?
Not in London, Ontario. London, Ontario is the bastion of English Canada. So you would imagine the people that founded it. But no, they speak French in Quebec. And my French is more Parisian French. We learned in school, but the Quebec French is different from Parisian French. Is Texan English is from, you know, London English. London, England English, but not a French speaker per se.
No, but you are a Greek speaker.
I speak Greek because my parents both spoke Greek. My mother was born in Boston, so she was an American girl. My father was born in Greece, but my Greek is also not as good as my brother and sisters. I was the youngest of three,
right?
And my brother and sister went to Greek school, and I sort of went for a little bit and then acted out.
I know one time acted out. Don't we all at high school though? Don't we act out a little bit?
Well, I mean, I was the classic actor outer, and now that I look back on my my life in those sort of days, you know, I was classic third child, the classic youngest child, I should say. In my case, happened to be the third. But youngest children have a lot of stuff.
They do.
Issues.
They do. Yes, we do. We all go through our trials and tribulations. I know one Greek term because I was there in 1993.
Does it start with an M?
No, it's Sagapo Riamanta.
Sagapo what?
Riamanta.
Oh.
Sagapo Riamanta. I think it means I love you forever.
Yeah,
I might have said it wrong though.
I don't know the second part because it doesn't really, but yeah, Sagapo, definitely.
I probably said the last bit wrong, but that's okay. It's been a long time since I've said it.
I'm sure in Greece they fell in love with you forever too. So.
Absolutely. I went to Alakes, Zante Island and Lagonas. It was absolutely gorgeous, one of the most beautifulest countries I've ever been to, and they're Orthodox, and my grandfather is Orthodox too. He's Serbian Orthodox, but
oh, no wonder you're feisty.
Right. And I've got Irish. I'm a double feist.
Serb
That
and
didn't
Irish.
sound
Well,
right.
I don't want to drink with you.
I know, right?
I think that being a Canadian, though, I mean, gave me a certain beat into coming to the United States. I mean, don't you feel, how long have you been in the U.S.? A while, right?
I
Over
moved
50
here.
years?
I moved here in September, October, January 2000.
Okay, so you're, yeah, that's not too long ago.
No, well, 20 something years, 20,
Yeah,
24
I came
years.
here way before that.
Well, I want to tell people about your music because John has some great music out there. You really need to look him up. He's on Instagram and Facebook. But you're known for Big Sky, the Umbrella Academy, and my favourite, 16 Candles with John Cusack. Hi, John.
Oh, you girls love that John Cusack, don't you? I just had a friend of mine. She would always sort of make an excuse to talk to me so she could talk about John Cusack.
Oh, well, we're not going to talk about him. No offence, John, but this is John Kapelos, and he's on my show, and we're talking about John Kapelos today. But
John
out to you.
John was a really good guy, and he's a good actor. No question about that. I just watched Eight Man Out the other day, and after not seeing it for a long time, good movie, John Sayles movie. He's great in it. But anyway.
Well, you know what else I just saw the other day, which I thought, and they took the clip out, The Breakfast Club, where you play the janitor, and there's a scene, a very powerful scene in there, where you're sitting there and you're telling them all what they're going to be doing wrong in their life and in the future. And I thought, why didn't they leave that scene in? It was so powerful.
Well, because I think at the end of the whole process of putting that movie together, they decided that it was too much on the head of the subtext of the movie, which is we all become our parents. And we all sort of grow up and we all eventually become them. You know, do I become, you know, that's kind of the beating drum, scary drum beat, you know, underneath the film is like we all become adults. So, and my telling them that, although funny and interesting and probably true in terms of like where they might be, it also was seen as I said, too on the head of the subtext of the movie. So they decided to take it out, much to my chagrin. But, you know, I can't have everything in life. I mean, they took a lot of my stuff out of that movie.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know.
You know, there's a really good book by a guy named Ralph Rosenblum that I had read, an editor, called When the Shooting Starts, the Cutting Begins. And he talked about cutting actors out of various movies. So, not that I was emotionally prepared for it, but I knew that it was part of the business. You know, it's you know, that people like, and Dee Dee Allen, who cut the Breakfast Club, she was the editor of the Breakfast Club, she edited and cut the movie Bonnie and Clyde. So the day that I went to add my dialogue and see the movie, go to the ADR stage, or the looping stage, as they call it at Universal, the Alfred Hitchcock soundstage.
Right.
She met me outside, Dee Dee, the editor, and she, uncharacteristically, sort of, she wasn't, I wouldn't say she was an effusive person. She put her arm on my shoulder and she said, John, that whole sequence where you tell the kids where they're going to be, and then she went like this with her fingers, and then she told me a couple of other sequences were cut out. And my heart sank. And being a young adult at the time, I didn't cry. I wanted to, but I didn't. I went in and you know, yeah, you know, in the creative world, not that, you know, other people in jobs when they have things extracted that they did work in, but in the creative world, it has its own peculiar sting. You know? That's all I can really say about it. Because you're hoping that they're going to use your stuff, and when they don't,
they don't.
You know, you got to move on. But there have been situations, Sam. You know, like I did a movie, Nothing in Common, with Tom Hanks and Gary directed, where I improvised a whole scene that's in the film and will always be in the movie, and it's a great scene, and Tom Hanks and I improvised it, and you know. there are small victories, big victories, minor defeats.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm in the movies, so I can't complain about that.
Movies, you've done movie, TV service, Days of Our Lives. You played many years on that, and I want to talk about this Forever Night. That was in Canada, right?
We shot it in Toronto. Yeah, it was what they called it that time. And CBS had a thing called Crime Time After Prime Time, where they had these slate of shows that ran late night and low budget films. It was shot on 16mm at the time.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Well, people are now shooting on their iPhones.
People are shooting Scotch tape, and it's, you know, it's getting on streaming. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not, you know, again, it's not how you make it; it's what you put into it. I mean, how you make it, obviously, has a lot to do with, you know, how things get seen. But you know, over the years, the thing is, people will put up with bad picture; they won't put up with bad sound. So you can shoot something on, like, as I said, Scotch tape or 8mm or whatever, 16mm, or, you know, your iPhone. But they still want certain elements in it that are, you know, it's tough to watch something that has bad sound. It
is. That's why I was doing. That's why I was doing a triple sound check before you.
Exactly, because, you know, you can do something and interview somebody, and I've been in situations where we've shot stuff and then the sound is lousy. I did this movie called The Boost with James Woods, and directed by Harold Becker, and it was with Sean Young, James Woods. It was in the '80s. It was a movie about him getting addicted to cocaine, and I played this guy that owns a bunch of car washes in LA, and I'm a slick sort of guy, and eventually I turn him onto cocaine and he becomes addicted. But they chose a location that was really inexpensive, because there was a lower budget movie at the time, and it was in Long Beach, but it was about a half a mile away from the shipbuilding plant. So every 20 to 35 seconds there was this boom, this incredibly deep, loud thump. So we had to redo all the dialogue in the movie, and it just wasn't as good as the stuff we recorded on the day. And when you're shooting a film, you know, it just goes to the point of how sound is so important and integral. And people can tell. People can tell when, you know, it's off, because the audience is very sophisticated. You know, with the amount of stuff that people watch and see, you know, the audience really gets it, you know. And now with computers and iPhones and stuff, people won't put up with the most minor amount of, you know, technical, you know. And like, I had some music I was playing the other day for somebody, and it was, we were listening to some music to pick something out for a movie, and I had some stuff on one of my iPods or something. And I played it, and he went, "Wait a second, what's that?" And I said, "Oh, that's a scratch, because that's coming from a record." "Oh," he said, "that's really distracting." Yeah, now people think sometimes scratches and stuff are neat, but this was like loud and proud and really, you know. That's why, personally, you know, I mean, as much as I love the stuff that's pristine and sounds good and full.
So you've been a writer too on The Immortals, Forever Night, and Monterey Jack?
That was a pilot I wrote for NBC that didn't go anywhere, but still I wrote it.
That's okay. You know, not all books get published either. So, but My Criminal Minds, you've been on Criminal Minds, CSI, The X-Files, Desperate Housewives. How was that?
Well, you know, at the time, there was, when I went on, there was a lot of tension on the set. Not that I was privy to what was going on, but man, oh man.
Women with hormones, huh?
I remember that Ava Longoria, and I don't know whether it was Terry Hatcher or somebody, there was just a lot of, there was what I would call a progesterone fever going on. There were a couple of females that were just not getting along with each other, apparently.
Oh, what a shame. That's going to happen though, isn't it?
Well, you know, part of the fuego of working on film sets is when actors bring sort of an emotional intensity to things that they're either, you know, either with each other or with others. I mean, you know, I have no problem with that. What I do have a problem with is, you know, the ancillary stuff, like how big's your trailer, you know, and all that sort of stuff. But I have to say, Eva Longoria, who I worked with, was fantastic. Sent me a box of cupcakes, which were fantastic. You know, small human kindnesses go a long way with people.
Right.
Notes, thank yous. You know, and unfortunately, I think it's becoming less and less common.
We have to bring the trend back, because I've noticed that, you know, everyone that's been on my show has been really kind, and I've been really blessed. It's, you know, we've all had one bad experience, but I really can't say that, you know, everyone that I meet, I mean, you, and then you with my friends and stuff, and at the lunch, and everybody loved you, and you know, it was just so great. And kindness, that's what my show's about, showing how we're familiar yet uniquely different, and how kindness matters, because it doesn't cost anything, you know. You use more wrinkles in a frown than you do a smile. So yeah, just be kind to people.
There's a lot of lack of kindness, and sort of a lack of empathy, a lot of hardness. And, you know, as we all know, life is difficult as it is. So,
right.
Negotiating in life with people that are, you know, emotionally difficult is sometimes just in itself kind of exhausting.
Right. Yeah, I know. Because I class myself as an empath, you know. All my aunties are Irish, big Irish gypsies. I was growing up, they were like, let me look at your hand. I went, let's not. I says, I'm going to tell my own future because I'm going to live it. But they, you know, that's just the way they were. So, but my instinct, you know, I feel, you know, because I want to be in tune with people around me. I want to be in tune with the world. So,
I mean, I grew up in and if we want to talk about this, I mean, I grew up in an ethnic family in the very white Anglo-Saxon Protestant part of Canada. London, Ontario is very, very conservative, and you know, in the day it was, you know, very, very, how do you say, sort of monotheistic, you know. Not too many Catholics, not too many, and so when the Irish came into Canada, you know, Canada is very Scottish,
right.
But you know, my parents were not typical. You know, they were not. You know, people expected us to be ethnic in a certain way,
right?
And I would put it like, you know, argumentative and loud and all those sort of things. And my parents were. We had our argumentative and loud moments, to be sure, and we were emotionally, you know, but also my parents also wanted to, you know, education was important, living in the culture that we lived in, fitting in, and being part of, you know, Canadian culture, and also being part of the community, and those are elements that you know. Still stick with me to this day. I mean, I really was fortunate to have two very up to the plate, mature parents that, and so when we talk about sort of the, and I want to put this in a way that makes sense, is like conflict is part of like the Mediterranean culture. There's a lot of
Italian and Greek, yeah.
And a lot of that was frankly not looked upon as positive in our family, and because it didn't really get us anywhere, you know.
Right.
It sort of kept us in a sort of a stereotypical situation of whether it was an ethnically stereotypical situation or just a situation where, you know, you wouldn't get ahead. So, you know, for example, my dad, we never really thought about things like we thought about things like, you know, doing schoolwork.
Right.
And trying to move ahead. But my dad didn't insist that, you know, I take over his clothing store or be like him. Or he wanted us to fly and go ahead. And I think you know, in that sort of world, there was a lot of acceptance of, you know, if you want to choose this, well, you know, it may not be what I like, but you can do it. And so when I decided to become an actor, my father was dubious, but
Right.
also, you know, positive, you know. So I was fortunate that way.
Right.
I was given the chance to do what I wanted to do, and I was also given the chance to fail because, I mean, the deal I made with my father when I told him I wanted to be an actor when I was about 20 years old, 21, was he said, okay, try it for a little while, but if you don't do anything, I mean, if it doesn't work, let's, you know, figure that out and you go back to school or do something else.
Right.
And that was cool, you know?
Well, yeah, because he was encouraging, he gave you the support. He gave you the support even though he was weary about it, you know.
He didn't laugh at me, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
I had friends, Sam, that laughed at me. And, you know, we all come from places like you say, well, I want to be a spaceman. But, you know, I mean, I remember the day that I told some of my friends I wanted to be an actor, and they literally fell on the ground and laughed.
Right.
But, you know.
But look at you now. You've worked with some amazing people. You're an amazing actor yourself. But, you know, you've got IMDb is full of TV series and films that you've been in going way back when. And even now you're still working.
Yeah, and I think that the key to it all is that, honestly, you know, those guys that were laughing, I don't call them up and go, see, today.
Right.
I mean, I keep in touch with them, but I have no idea whether they've seen my work, and frankly, I don't care because I do it for myself.
Right.
You know, I mean, when I was a teenager, you know, like, okay, they'll see what I can do, let them see. But now, I don't have to prove it to anybody.
No.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, and that's the joy of actually doing it, you know? Because when you do something for long enough, it's like, okay, the person that I proved it to was myself. And that was a long time ago. So there's a sense of love and enjoying it. But, you know, I've actually had family members, and not friends, but family members tell me they don't like me as an actor.
Oh, dear.
You know, well, they haven't said it out loud as much, but, you know, I can tell that I'm not their cup of tea when it comes to acting.
But you're playing a part. That's what people have to realise, is that the John I met was you first. You know, okay, I've seen you in film.
Well, and that's sometimes, you know, what's difficult for some people to take is like...
separating the both.
I was at church once, and this lady came up to me. She says, "You're a bad person. You play with bad people." And I was like...
What did I do?
Talking to me?
Are you talking about the part I played?
That's the thing. I mean, you know. And sometimes people are disappointed when you're not that guy.
Right.
You know, that guy in the movie, or like if that jerk or whatever.
the killer or the sarcastic janitor. Right.
I once got in a car with a friend of mine, and I just played a killer in a movie, and the guy had seen me in the movie goes, "Oh my God, it's a killer in my cab." No, that dates it. There are no cabs anymore. Thank you, sweetie.
I'm a bright star in the nighttime.